Hi folks, Larry Winget here on a beautiful Monday morning in Paradise Valley, Arizona, where the temperature has finally gotten down into the 80s, and it's just gorgeous here. Sitting in my backyard, y'all have seen me in this spot before, and today I want to talk to you about some of the stories that are going on in the news that frankly just confound, perplex, agitate, bother, frustrate me on so many levels. So I'll wait for a few more of you to join me here. There's Robert. When you sign in, give me a little thumbs up. Let me know you're here. I'd appreciate that. And then we'll get started when a crowd of you are here. There's Robert. There's Randy. There's Jamie. There's Stephanie. There's Connie. Look at that. We got a bunch of folks here. So cool. We'll get rolling. Baron and James and Dave and Brian. All right, cool. All right, these are the stories that are in the news this week that I said just bother me. They bother me a lot. So let's just talk about some of the things and what it says. You'll see across the bottom of the screen there. Who are we and what have we become? And these stories sort of say it all about who we are and what we have become. And frankly, folks, I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's good news for us. These stories aren't good news for us as a society. The first one is the story, I don't know if you saw it, in Ohio this week. A 10-year-old boy took a car and led cops on a high-speed chase where he drove up to 100 miles an hour, finally drove off into a ditch, went off-road with the thing, and his excuse was he was bored. Now, let me go through that story again. He was 10 years old, and he was bored, so he took the family car. Now, here's something that you have to understand. This wasn't the first time he had done it. He has done this before. He took the family car before at 10 years old. What does this say about us? Well, first of all, it tells me that 10-year-olds get bored. Think about back when most of us were 10 years old. I bet you I could not define the word bored. I was a smart kid, but I grew up in a little town in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and we were never bored. There was always something to do. And it didn't have to do with holding a damn phone in my hand or a game controller. There were things to do. There was a yard, and there were friends, and there was outside, and there was stuff to do inside, and toys, and all that sort of stuff. And I was always occupied. I also always had chores. I had responsibilities. At 10 years old, there was things I was responsible for doing. And so I didn't understand the word bored. It wouldn't have been allowed anyway. You're right. It wouldn't have been allowed for me to be bored. And if I'd have told my mom and daddy I was bored, they'd have showed up with a list. And that list would have been things I would have had to go do. So what does that say about us as a society? That we're lousy parents. We don't keep our kids occupied. We don't keep them busy. Let me see what some of you are saying. And as parents, we're too dumb to either train discipline or at minimum hide the freaking keys. Exactly, boy. The first time, okay. The second time, you're an idiot, mom and dad. Please, go read my book. Your kids are your own fault. And you'll understand that kid is a direct reflection of a stupid mama and daddy who didn't do the right thing by this kid. We should not have a society where 10-year-old kids are bored. Frustrates the hell out of me. We would spend countless hours running around kicking a ball. Exactly. Anyway, I'm going to move on, and then we'll do a little summary. The second story, 19%, according to a new study, 19%, I'm reading this, of college students think that it is acceptable to use violence to disrupt a speaker who is saying offensive and hurtful things on campus. Lord, Lord, Lord. Nearly 20%, 1 in 5 of young adults, I'm not going to call these people kids, especially you got to be 18, 19 years old to be in college, maybe 20, and so now you're, good God, we have responsible young adults, college age people for sure who go fight and die for this country. So I'll be damned if I call these college students kids. I won't do it. These are adults that mama and daddy, goes back to good parenting, most things do, should have prepared these people for reality. And reality is this: there are going to be a lot of people say things you don't agree with, and that you're going to get your precious little fragile snowflake, and people hate that word too, but there you go. Snowflake feelings hurt because something hurts your feelings and you find it offensive. I find you offensive, and yet I would never violently attack you. Where have we gotten to in this world that we think it's okay to attack people with physical violence simply because we don't agree with what they have to say? And why the hell are our feelings hurt all the time? Let me see what y'all are saying. If it were my mom, it wouldn't have been a second time. She would be in jail. Randy, that's what I told my wife. There wouldn't be any second time with me. You're talking about the kid who took the car at 10 years old. These two stories are definitely a reflection of how we parent our kids. We are not raising responsible, productive adults. And that's the subtitle, by the way, to my book, Your Kids Are Your Own Fault. It's about how to raise responsible, productive adults. These responsible, productive adults are anything but responsible, and mostly they aren't very productive, and they somehow have gotten to the point that they believe they're entitled to their First Amendment rights, but no one else is entitled to their First Amendment rights if it offends anybody else in any way. We wake up every single morning looking for ways to be offended, and that's sad. And I think that there has to be a tougher approach that says, screw you and how you feel. Woo! Screw you and how you feel about things. I don't give a damn about your feelings. We have become a society that runs our businesses by feelings. Oh, we're passionate about it. We just love what we do. Oh my God, I don't give a damn. Serve me well. Do something that provides value to me and my life and my business, and then I'll pay attention to you. But I don't care how you feel about your business. I don't give a damn whether you're passionate about it or not. Why don't you just be good at it? There you go. Passion, love, emotions, all those things should not be running our business any more than they should be running our lives. I save my emotions for my family. I love my family. I love my friends. That's where the emotion shows up in my life, not in my business. And I don't let emotions run my life in terms of what other people say and do. I have feelings about it. I get fired up about it, but not to the point that I'm going to lash out at anybody over it, which takes us to really my next story. Let me see what y'all are saying first. We need you to run for president. No, we don't. We really, really don't. Trust me, that doesn't seem to me like the world's really ready for much common sense. So, sunrise services with Larry. You know, I was almost going to start a church one time called the Church of Larry. Now, don't all you churchy people get upset with me. It was not about me thinking I was God or any of that sort of stuff. It's just me where we get together once a week and we just talk about what made sense. Stuff like this. It seems to me like that would have been a lot of fun. There you go. So competence over sympathy. Yep, there you go. Another one of those dumb emotions. So here's what it all comes down to, and it's my third story. And please do not make this story political. This story is not about politics, even though it does talk about one side of the political spectrum. It is about who we are and what we have become, and that is the story, and many of you have already seen it, I know. It's the story that, and they call themselves this, liberals. I don't like terms liberals and conservatives very much because I don't much like labeling. I have very liberal ideas on some things and very conservative ideas on other things, and somehow I think that makes me a thinking adult. That's what I believe we need more of, thinking adults. We ought to be raising thinking adults. That's what parents should do. So I don't like those kind of labels, but this is it because they've labeled themselves. That liberals are going to, on November the 4th, have what they call, I'm going to read it to you, where they are going to get together on November the 4th and scream helplessly at the sky. Now, this is about the anniversary of the election, November the 8th, excuse me. November the 4th is when Antifa wants to get together and do their little thing. But November the 8th, liberals say they're going to get together across our country, started in Boston, and scream helplessly at the sky on the anniversary of President Trump's elections. Okay, here's my issue. This is not about being pro-Trump. This is not about being political. This is not about being Republican, Democrat, Independent, any of those things. It's not about that. It's who we have become, that we think as adults, first of all, that screaming helplessly at the sky fixes anything. First of all, by saying the words helplessly, you have chosen to give up your power and you have chosen to be a victim. Anytime you choose to be a victim, I pretty much believe you get kind of what you deserve, because you could have made a different choice. Remember, we talk about bullying in society, and if you've read my book, I talk a lot about bullying. I believe that you cannot have a bully without a victim. And once you have decided it's okay to be a victim, bullies show up in your life. And when you say, I'm not going to be a victim anymore, somehow you magically repel bullies in your life. And that's what I believe about this term, helplessly surrendering to the only solution you have to President Trump being elected, is to go outside and scream helplessly at the sky. Oh my God, what have we become? That is the solution, to helplessly scream about anything. Why don't you run for office? Why don't you get on the phone and call your congressman? Why don't you do a whole myriad of things other than admitting that you're a victim, admitting that you're helpless, and thinking that screaming at the sky is going to do you any good? Here's the deal. You look stupid. Regardless of your political point of view, regardless of how you feel about President Trump, regardless how you feel about pretty much anything ever, you look stupid. And no one is going to take you seriously. And you think you are helping your cause when actually you're hurting your cause. Now, this applies certainly to both sides. People who do nothing but scream hurt their cause. They don't do themselves any good. Liberals, you're not going to make all the conservatives go, oh my God, you're right. Because you're screaming helplessly at the sky, we are no longer going to support the president. We're not going to support a conservative agenda. Your screaming at the sky is so convincing to us that we're going to come over to your side. Nor will it work for the Republicans, the conservatives, that side of the aisle. The point is, it's not political. The point is that as a society, we think it makes sense. At least some people do, and they're the growing numbers on Facebook, the people who say they're going to show up for this. We think it makes sense to say that we are helpless, victimized people, and that screaming at the sky is going to do us any good. What have we become? Who are we? Bothers me. Darren, you're absolutely right, and that's the way I looked at it too. Helplessly says it all right there. Exactly. There's so much that can be done. So much that can be done, no matter what you stand for, who you're against. There's so much that can be done rather than admit that you're helpless. Julie loves this guy. Wish the snowflakes would listen for 1 minute. Or you're saying you love me, love this guy? Appreciate that. Stephen, it's easier to be a consumer than a producer. Yep. 0 cents in there, according to Boyd. Yep, totally agree. Let me see. Adam says, Napoleon said to never interrupt your opponent when they're making a mistake. The people screaming helplessly at the sky are making a big one. They really are, and yet they think that they're taking a stand. And they make themselves just look dumb, and they're hurting themselves. Most of this just is ridiculous, folks. And that's who we are and what we have become right now. And so that not only is this a rant, but it's a question for each one of us. Who are we and what have we become, and how do we respond to things, and how do we react to things? And do we give up our power and become victims? uh, when things don't go our way? And how do we react to other people's ability to express themselves in their free speech? Do we respect it even though we adamantly, vehemently disagree with them? Or do we say, no, you don't have a right to say that? When you look at these three stories from a 10-year-old that's bored, that ought to tell every parent, make sure you keep your kids busy. Make sure that bored is something they don't even understand. Give them work to do. Give them chores to do. Give them assignments. Keep them involved. And that's how you make sure your kids aren't bored so they do stupid things. Then lock up the damn car keys. Holy crap. Really? Parents? Really? Anyway, that's your job as a parent. The second part is about that we have college-age students who think it's okay to be violent against someone who says something that might offend us. That's still a parenting issue. Parents, teach your kids that it's okay to have differing opinions. It's okay to disagree, but it's never okay to be disrespectful, especially the point of violence. That doesn't make any sense. And then, as a society, we have to say, lock those people up who commit violence at any level. Lock them up. I will support anybody's right to protest. Anybody's right to protest. But I will not support violence against property or people in any way. Lock them up. They're criminals. And somebody said, don't forget the litter. Pick it up after the event. You're trashy. Couldn't agree with you more. You see where this, care to see where this ends up? Venezuela. That's exactly how it ends up. People, do your research there. And then on the third story again, it comes down to screaming at the sky and admitting that you're a victim and that you are helpless. That's just sad. Folks, take action against things that you don't like, people you don't agree with. If you don't agree with the president, that's fine with me. Do what you want to protest him in a way that benefits your side, which means that get on the phone, call your congressman, do the heavy lifting, support people who don't support his agenda, whatever you choose to do. But ever at any level for an adult in this country to admit that they're helpless and that they think a solution is to scream at the sky is really disappointing about who we are and what we have become. So think about how the points of these three stories apply to your life. How are they working with the way you parent your kids, the way you handle your employees, the way you treat your customers, the way you react to things that are going on in life and in business and in politics and in the world? And it really always comes back to who you are and your core values. And that's why down in the corner of this little screen, you will see that what's wrong with damn near, which way it is, right there. What's wrong with damn near everything, how the collapse of core values is destroying us and how to fix it. And that is out just now on audio, so you can pick it up on Audible. So do that. And this has been a fun 18 minutes. Thank you, folks. If you like what I've had to say here and it makes sense to you and you think other people around you could benefit from this, please feel free to share this in any way. This will also show up in just a little while on my podcast on iTunes. We're looking at expanding the podcast to some other venues. If you don't get iTunes, I know it's difficult for you people who aren't Mac-based, but we're getting ready to fix that. I've got a lot of other stuff coming out this week on there as well. So sign up, subscribe to that, and share these on Facebook and YouTube and so forth. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your great comments. I appreciate it. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Monday and the rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.